On behalf of Bestway Tours and Safaris, I would like to welcome you to today's webinar. Today we are going to focus on the wonders of Indonesia, in particular on a tour which is called the Isles of Indonesia. My name is Peter Langer, and I'm the Destination Marketing and Education Specialist of Bestway Tours and Safaris. I'm also the executive producer of The Ultimate Traveler and a panelist of the National Geographic Center for Sustainable Destinations. As you can see, I'm here surrounded by all the lovely Indonesians. First and foremost, let's get a scope of Indonesia. It's a huge and vast country, and it's very interesting to note that if we were to overimpose Canada over Indonesia, in essence, if we were to travel from one end of the country to the other, we would be covering a distance which is even greater than flying from Victoria to Bermuda. Gives you an idea of the vastness of the country. Indonesia consists of 17,508 islands. They are scattered on both sides of the equator. The largest are Java, Sumatra, Borneo, New Guinea, and Sulawesi. At 1,919,440 square kilometers, Indonesia is the world's 16th largest country in terms of land area. Lake Toba on the island of Sumatra is the largest lake. As a matter of fact, it is the largest lake in Southeast Asia with an area of 1,145 square kilometers. Indonesia is also a very volcanic country. It has at least 150 active volcanoes. In terms of the demography of Indonesia, and this is of great interest to us as well, its population consists of close to 240 million inhabitants. Its capital is the city of Jakarta. The language which is spoken throughout Indonesia and is a unifying factor in the country is Bahasa Indonesia, which is basically Indonesian. As well, over 700 living languages are spoken. The country is also a multi-religious country, the majority of the population belonging to Islam, but there are also Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, and animists. Indonesia, being scattered over so many islands, features an incredible variety of ethnic groups, all with their own customs, traditions, handicrafts, and food. Not only do we see a wonderful amount of ethnic diversity, but also remarkable wildlife, such as the orangutans in Borneo, or the remarkable Komodo dragon on the islands of Komodo and Jinca, which is basically the largest lizard in the world. Indonesia, because it sits in two very important areas for bird watching, is also a haven for ornithologists. On the island of Sumatra, we can also see the Asian one-horned rhinoceros and the rare Sumatran tiger. In terms of its gastronomy, Indonesia features a diversity of dishes which are remarkable. Some are spicy, some are not. You get always the staple of rice, wonderful fresh vegetables, seafood, and meat. And Indonesia is also a great destination for coffee. As a matter of fact, after Africa and the Middle East, Indonesians have adopted coffee as their drink of choice. You have on each island an immense variety of different types of coffees, which are very reasonably priced. If you drink a coffee which Indonesians drink Turkish style, will cost you about 20 cents. In terms of shopping, given all the various ethnic diversity, you will find the most exquisite clothing items in terms of batik, other types of textiles, beautiful wood carvings and other handicrafts, and of course, coffee. So, from that point of view, it is a wonderful country to go shopping for souvenirs from island to island. Today, I'm going to talk about the Isles of Indonesia itinerary, which has been especially prepared by Bestway Tours and Safaris. This one covers some very important islands, Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, and Sulawesi, and takes our clients for about 15 days. There are later extensions, which we will discuss in a moment. We start our itinerary in the city of Medan, which is the largest city on the island of Sumatra. Our clients get to stay at the Arya Duta Hotel, which is a lovely five-star property located right in the center of the city of Medan. We explore the next day because we don't know exactly when our clients arrive. We will explore Sumatra's largest metropolis and commercial center. What is notable in Medan is its beautiful Moorish architecture, which stems to the late 19th, earliest 20th century. You will find a number of beautiful mosques, um, beautiful palaces, because this area was run by a sultan. After our city tour of the city of Medan, we are going to explore a little bit more of the island of Sumatra. On the second and third day, we are traveling from Medan to Samosir Island, and we will be staying in Samosir Villa Resort, which is a five-star resort located by the shores of Lake Toba. So, in essence, we are traveling from Medan through the countryside into Lake Toba. Then, in a place called Parapat, we will take a ferry and travel to Samosir Island. Lake Toba is Southeast Asia's largest lake, and it's actually a super volcano. Really, the lake sits in what was a crater of an explosion which took place about 20,000 years ago and was of immense importance in terms of climate change. On Lake Toba, once we have taken the hour's ferry ride, which it takes to get from Parapat to Samosir Island, we'll explore Samosir Island. This is the home of the Batak Toba people. The Batak Toba people, there's a number of Batak people, but the Toba people are the ones which live on this island. They feature quite a number of interesting customs. What is remarkable to visit are some of the legendary places, historical places, like this village near on Samosir Island, where we will see the architecture. It's a remarkable architecture. These houses were built in a boat style architecture. On the top are the living quarters. At the bottom here, you will find the quarters for the animals. It also protected the people from flooding their houses away in case of this big rainfall which occurs during the monsoon. The Batak Toba have a wonderful tradition of wood carving, and it is a great opportunity to shop for wood carvings. As part of our tour, we are going to take people to the Huta Bolon Cultural Center. This is where Batak Toba rituals are set to gondang music and they come alive. This is a show which takes place in the mornings, and you will get to see all the various dances which take place and which are traditional um, dances, particularly at the time of funerals. During the funerals, they have this wooden puppet, which is maneuvered by a number of strings at the bottom of this box, which actually represents the dearly departed one. It is quite a colorful spectacle. On the next day, on the fourth day, we travel from Samosir via Parapat to Perastagi, and we will be staying at the lovely Hotel Sibayak. This is basically we are coming back from the lake, and we will be staying here in Perastagi. Perastagi is in a moderate climate. On the way, we are going to see these marvelous Sumatran coffee plantations. As I mentioned earlier, Indonesia is widely known for its excellent coffee, whether it's Sulawesi coffee, Sumatra coffee, coffee from Java, from Bali. There is an immense variety. Also, we will get to see a number of rubber plantations. Indonesia is one of the world's primary rubber producers. After our visit to Barastagi, we will travel from Medan to Jakarta. As it sometimes is difficult to um, see the island and to travel from Indonesia, what we are doing is we are flying people to Jakarta. They will stay in Jakarta because the traffic is so terrible. We are going to stay at the Jakarta Airport Hotel as we are leaving the next morning immediately for the island of Borneo. Next morning, early in the morning, we fly from Jakarta to Pangkalan and embark on an exploration of the National Park of Tanjung Putin. Here, there's a number of orangutan sanctuaries. We will be staying in the middle of the park in this lovely lodge, the Rimba Lodge. The Rimba Lodge, incidentally, is also run by one of these wildlife foundations, by an NGO, and all of its proceeds go to saving the wildlife and to providing employment for the locals in order to prevent the devastation of the environment. The way we explore Tanjung Puting, Borneo, it's the home of the orangutans and the proboscis monkeys. What we do here is we will be traveling on a boat through the park. This boat is called Klotok. It's called Klotok because it makes that noise, Klotok, 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 Klotok. And as we travel through the river, we will see, mostly by the riverside, all these proboscis monkeys, which are renowned for their rather large noses. And then we come to the highlight of our tour. We will be visiting on this particular tour three distinct orangutan sanctuaries. These are sanctuaries which have been created particularly in order to save the orangutan. There has been habitat loss, but also there were a number of orangutans which have been adopted to human families. And what these or centers try to do is to reintegrate these orangutans back into their natural environment. Amongst those camps, probably the most famous one of them all is Camp Leakey. When you leave the boat, it's actually quite an easy walk. Sometimes it's only 300-400 meters. Other times it's a kilometer, but it's on even ground. And you get to see all these orangutans which come to certain feeding stations at scheduled times. So that maximizes the time we will be able to see these impressive animals. After our visit to Borneo and to the orangutan sanctuaries, we will travel from Pangkalan Bun to Semarang, and from there we will travel by road to the city of Yogyakarta. In Yogyakarta, we are going to spend time at the Melia Purosani Hotel, a delightful five-star property which is located in the heart of Yogyakarta. Careful, Yogyakarta is spelled officially with a Y and a Y, but most it's also acceptable spelling is J-O-J. So what you want to do is the people normally refer to it as Jogja. Yogyakarta is actually the center of classical Javanese fine arts and culture. And we will visit the Palace of the Sultan, a beautifully preserved living museum. Why I'm saying living museum is if we are lucky on the day of the tour, there might be a musical performance, there might be ceremonies taking place at the palace. It's a beautiful piece of architecture which dates back to the 19th century. Not only are we going to see the palace, but I would highly suggest to shop for batik. Batik is a particular Indonesian textile which is produced mostly in Java, Yogyakarta being one of the main centers of the production of batik, and of course on the island of Bali. Also, if time permitting, in the evening you may have the option to go to a shadow puppet theater. The wayang kulit is a legendary tradition. It has been registered by UNESCO as intangible and oral heritage of mankind. Basically, the puppeteer makes a play with these puppets, which are against the screen. What the audience sees on the other side is this shadow puppetry. Usually they're legends of the Ramayana or other great Hindu legends, but sometimes they also make commentary on current political affairs and are quite comedic. Whilst in Yogyakarta, nearby about half an hour drive from the center, we go to Prambanan. Prambanan has been registered as an UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is a compound of temples dedicated to Shiva in Indonesia. As a matter of fact, the architecture which you see in Prambanan has its origins in South Indian architecture. Most of the temples are Hindu. However, there are some which are also Buddhist in nature. On the next day, we will explore Borobudur, which is one of the most important Mahayana Buddhist temples in Southeast Asia. Aside from Angkor in Cambodia and Pagan in Myanmar, Borobudur is probably the most magnificent monument, consists of a gigantic stupa or sanctuary mount, and on it are all these various little stupas, underneath which is various poses of the Buddha. Sometimes he's sitting, other times he's meditating or standing, and it's a remarkable UNESCO World Heritage Site. After we have marveled at all these archaeological wonders, now we go to living culture. On the 11th day, we will fly from Yogyakarta to Makassar and then drive on to Rantepao. Careful, the city of Makassar, as it is normally called, also has the official name of Unjung Pandan. That is where the international airport is, and from there it's about a 4.5 hour drive into the mountains to the land of the Toraja. We will be staying at the five-star Toraja Heritage Hotel, which has been recreated almost like a Torajan village. Tanah Toraja, or the land of the Toraja, is located in Sulawesi's Central Highlands, and it is the home of the Toraja people. The Torajan people, which are nominally Christian, also have animist traditions. We start in this town of Rantepao, and hopefully we get to see the Bolu livestock market, which draws crowds from all over the region. The reason why I'm saying hopefully is because this market takes place every 6 days. Not every day is not a specific market day, say Wednesday or Saturday. This is a day when we have it rotates. Of course, we have the calendar for when the market takes place. It's probably the cleanest livestock market I have seen in my life. Among the most valuable items, you will find these particularly pink albino water buffaloes. These are used in sacrificial ceremonies, which are employed in Torajan funerals. One of these buffaloes can easily cost anywhere from $18 to $20,000. The Indonesian saying goes, "Never marry a Torajan," because it's very, very expensive when they have their funeral rituals. Of course, in the market, you will see all sorts of fresh vegetables, fruits, fish, and see them coming up lively. It's a beautiful experience to get to see how the real people live. We will also explore a village, a traditional village with the Torajan houses. This one here is located approximately half an hour away from Rantepao, and it's almost like a museum village. We will also attempt to bring you to a Torajan funeral. Here, with great pomp and circumstance, they will hold a funeral. Usually, these funerals are attended by 4, 5,000 people, which will come. A funeral lasts approximately 1 week. People will come in ceremonial offerings. They will bring pigs and water buffaloes, which will then be shared by the entire villagers in a huge feast. There will be dancing. There will be various ceremonies, which is a fascinating way to experience a culture which almost dates back to the prehistoric times. Talking about funerals, at the end of the funeral, the Torajans bury their dead in cliffside graves. Either they are carved into the rock or they are in hanging coffins, which are located in certain caves. What is fascinating here, and this is obviously before the time of photography, they will create these effigies, these wooden effigies called tautaus. These tautaus are a memory of their relatives. So obviously these are representations of grandma, of grandpa, of auntie, and they are carved in the village and then placed in front of the coffin in order to remember the dear departed ones. At the end of our visit to the land of the Toraja, we return to Rantepao and then fly from Makassar or Unjung Pandan to the island of Bali. Bali is a beautiful place, and we will be staying at the Bali Melia Hotel. It is a five-star property located on Nusa Dua Beach. It's one of those places where you think you died and went into heaven. The airport of Denpasar, which is the airport of the island of Bali, is relatively close. There's a brand new highway which has been inaugurated in Nusa Dua, and it will take you there in about 20 minutes. We have then the entire day to relax on one of Bali's beaches or perhaps to explore more of the island. What we have done is, as Bali is such a attractive destination, we end our tour here and offer our clients the option to go home or to explore more of Indonesia's prime tourist destination. My advice is to go to a place called Ubud because that's the center and the heart of all the arts and culture of the island. You can see a number of dances such as Kecak dances, Barong or Lelong dances, or you can explore one of Bali's 20,000 Hindu temples. Another extension, and that would add another island, is to visit Komodo National Park, which is the habitat of the Komodo monitor, the world's largest living lizard. This is a 3 day extension. You actually come to the park where there are two main islands, Komodo Island and Rinca Island. We stay on a boat, which is also quite a neat little adventure, and explore the park in the hopes of finding this lizard. There's almost a guarantee of seeing quite a number of them at the entrance of the park because they go after the scraps of food. This tour is offered by Bestway Tours and Safaris on the 3rd of August, 14th of September of this year, or February 15th, April 19th, June 14th, August the 2nd, and September 13th of 2015. The cost starts from $3,565 per person based on a twin sharing basis. The tour price includes the hotel accommodation, as I just indicated, 38 meals. And to see the breakdown of these, may I suggest that you look up the Isles of Indonesia itinerary on Bestway's website. All sightseeing and transfers are mentioned in the itinerary. We offer the services of local English speaking guides. Of course, the entrance fees to orangutan sites, jungles, museums, and sites are included in the tour itinerary. The good thing about this itinerary is that it operates with a minimum of two passengers. Not only that, but you could complement this tour with a continuation on to New Guinea. Essentially, what we explore in the province of Papua, which is on the island of New Guinea, which Indonesia shares with the country of Papua New Guinea. I'm mentioning this so you don't get too confused. We then fly to Wamena, and from Wamena we fly directly to see the highlands. These were primitive people which are still living practically in the Stone Ages and keeping those traditions, except that they have the Stone Age traditions, but also use a modern cellular telephone. We get to see some of their rites and mock war dances. Special permits are also included. It's a fascinating addition. Since our clients have already flown such a long distance, it's worthwhile to add New Guinea to this tour. We also offer a completely different tour, which is World Heritage Sites of Indonesia. In this particular case, we take people also to Sangiran, which is the early man site near Surakarta, or Solo as the city is called. We take them to Borobudur, we take them to Prambanan, and then Bali and explore the World Heritage Site of Bali. It's a 10-day tour with all the normal inclusions. For those of you who are only interested in seeing the great highlights, we also have created a combination by which you will fly to Kalimantan, as the Indonesian part of the island of Borneo is called. We explore the orangutan sanctuaries, Camp Liki, see all the various primates in the forest, and then head directly from Pangkalan Bun to Bali and to Ubud. And here we will be touring the more cultural and artistic aspects of the island of Bali. We also have exclusively a combination tour of Bali, by which our clients explore the cultural aspects of Bali and then have time to rest on the beach. The important thing about Bestway Tours and Safaris is that we have many years of experience in terms of customizing our tour programs to suit your own areas of interest and dates. We are committed to providing you with superior quality travel at real value per dollar prices. The whole essence is that when you plan a trip with us, you will save time, money, and above all, hassle. Indonesia is not the easiest country to organize, so by going via Bestway Tours and Safaris, you will be ensured that your clients will have all the exclusive transportation to and from the airport around the islands, and we make it easy for you this way. Now comes the part you all have been waiting for. You have the option and the possibility of winning a 4-day holiday for two in Bali. As you have completed the webinar, we would like to ask you three questions. Number one, name Indonesia's Buddhist UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is featured in this tour. Number two, name Indonesia's largest lake. Number three, name two Indonesian islands that can be combined with the Isles of Indonesia tour. You have to email your answers to education@bestway.com. The winner will be drawn from the correct answers received by November 25th and will receive a 4-day land package in Bali for two, including 3 nights in Ubud, daily breakfast, return transfers from the airport, and a half-day tour in Bali. I will repeat these questions. I will put them up on the screen at the end of this webinar for a little while I take your questions and answers. For detailed itinerary information, optional tours and additions, please visit www.bestway.com or feel free to contact us in Vancouver at 604-264-7378, or you can feel free to call us toll-free anywhere in North America at 1-800-663-0844. Or you can send us an email to bestway@bestway.com. I would like to thank you on behalf of Bestway Tours and Safaris. I am leaving now again these questions for the possibilities of winning the 4-day holiday for two in Bali up, and I will take your questions in a brief moment. Thank you very much for having attended. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Have a good day.